end to get us ready for basketball tonight and all the other stuff going on. Dudley Dawson is with us from Hogs Illustrated and HogSports.com. Dudley, good afternoon.
Same to you two guys.
What's up?
Not much. Just
Dudley.
Getting ready for another basketball game.
Dudley, you're a smart guy. How in the world is Michigan ranked ahead of Michigan State? Give me just, the stupidest case you can make.
I really like the on the field when one team beats another. I listened to that guy last night who broke out his, really the last 2 weeks, he broke out his reasons that Michigan is a more complete team, yada, yada this, yada, yada that. But I would have Michigan State above Michigan. I know there's a lot that goes into it, but I'm real big on head-to-head matchups.
Yeah, that's how we decide things.
If we're not going to decide results based on who had the more points at the end of the game, it kind of makes all of this useless, doesn't it?
What's the point of playing the games?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. All right. So tonight at Bud Walton Arena, Dudley, I've kind of called this kind of an exam. It's not maybe a quiz, maybe not a full on exam, but it's a quiz because Northern Iowa's got some parts. They've got the preseason player of the year in the Missouri Valley. And Arkansas has had a propensity early on in this season to kind of flop around a little early in games. So I want to see how that all plays out tonight. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, I don't think Northern Iowa is as solid a club as it has been from 1 to 13, here lately. But I do think, as you mentioned, they have some good parts there. They could certainly beat Arkansas if Arkansas shows up and plays how it has going slowly early and struggling offensively and defensively. But again, this Arkansas team has more talent than Northern Iowa does overall. Arkansas is favored for a reason, for several reasons, and you would think if as long as they go out and play the way they're capable of, that this should be a solid win. I'm not saying they'll blow them away, but still, I think it should be a solid win. I do expect the game to be in the 60s. Maybe low 70s because that's Northern Iowa's tempo and wanting to keep it there. I do think that Arkansas pressed a little bit more last Saturday, I guess it was, and I think we'll continue to see more of that. But their on-the-ball defense has to get better, as Coach Musselman has been saying, for you to be able to gamble a little bit more like they want to.
This is a pop quiz tonight, but next week it gets real. You're going to have two Division I, top Power 5 games in a span of a couple of days. They can't come out slow tonight. What is it about Musselman teams? They just start slow and they figure it out, but it just takes a while for them to get going.
Yeah, I'd love to have good reasons for you, and I think that the coach is scratching his head sometimes too. He takes great pride in their ability to make adjustments and turn the game around and have played better second half. But I'm sure he would like to come out and blow somebody away at the start of the game and get that done, be clicking right away. I think we might see that a little bit more as we go along, as these guys get more experience with each other. That being said, the 4 guys that were returning that went out there on Saturday had great chemistry together. The one thing I noticed more than anything else was they had great spacing. I think sometimes when you have new guys coming into the program, especially new guys who have been the stars or pretty big players at their former schools, everybody's looking for their shot, everybody's looking for their spot, and you have to balance the floor. And I think that, that'll be something they learn as they go along. Certainly they did last year. They were similar to this coming out of the gate last year. And then everything started kind of settling into roles. And I think that's what we'll see. It sounds like he's going to play 7 or 8 people. And if you don't get it going here early, you may be, watching a lot of basketball this year.
Yeah, Dudley Dawson's with us here on Ruscin and Zach. But this is the way, they're winning. They're still perfect on the year. This is, no one wants to be playing their best basketball in November anyway. So this is kind of the way it's supposed to go in a way, right?
Yeah, but you want to be playing pretty good basketball.
Sure.
They've had stretches where they have, but they've had other stretches where it's not been good. There have been stretches where it's not worked at all, and I think again they're working through that. But you don't want to peak, but you don't want to hit your valley either. So
yeah. That's true.
Everything's. They're just rolling doubles every time, everywhere they go. Musselman's hot. He's especially in recruiting. You get the two big ones over the weekend. That completes the class. They're number 2 in the country.
Wow.
I mean, everything is going according to plan as far as recruiting goes. You get Darian Ford, you get Nick Smith Jr.'s, Nick Smith Jr.'s signature, and everything is good, right?
Yeah, and very rarely do I make it down to Dixon Street these days, but Nick Smith got me down there on Saturday night. I was in and out quicker than any time I've ever been on Dixon Street. But it was good to see all the excitement around the basketball program, as Coach Musselman talked about yesterday. He didn't know how this season's going to end out, but he knows that people are already excited about next year, and so is he. But it's one of those things where I'm anxious to see. Devo Davis, some of these returnees, is that going to be the 4 that are going to push you, and you're going to have just a few of these new guys coming off the bench, or will there be some swapping out? I do know that I was happy for Connor Vanover to get a matchup on Saturday that he could flourish in. You got to love it when you're 7'3" and a 6'4" guy runs out there. But I think there was a little bit more to it in that he took the shots that he should be taking in the first place and ran the floor better. As I think we've talked about before, when he got COVID, he went from 245 to 210. I also mentioned to him that I was at 245, but he mentioned to me that it looked good on him.
Oh, wow. Yikes.
I thought it was interesting. He's a funny kid, I guess. But got down to 210. Now he's back at 230, and is healthy and kept a great attitude about it, because as we all know, he was the lightning rod. If you wanted to attack the basketball team, and there wasn't many times you could last year, he was the lightning rod that everybody seemed to go after. And I don't know how the season's going to go for him, but was happy to see him, play well the other day.
So this isn't really a question; it's just a statement. And you can react to it. But I loved reading today that Traylon Burks was asked about not being a Biletnikoff semifinalist, and he said, "I don't care." I love that.
I mean, just straight up. I mean, I wouldn't. He certainly should, I think, be in the mix, but he wasn't. And his attitude has always been, I'm going to go out and play as hard as I can, do what I can, and eventually make millions and millions of dollars of money. And if y'all don't want to give me the Biletnikoff award, and you want me to go 20 to 25 in the NFL draft, well, I'll take that. I always get a kick out of him. The commercial that we run here. That he talks about, I haven't bought a house yet, but I'm sure thinking about it.
He may have a couple. He's probably going to have a couple.
Some property with some land to go hunting on and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Dudley, when I was in school, I mean, the basketball team won a national title, and it was good. Has there ever been a period, a sustained period, where all 3 major sports were really good at the same time?
No, absolutely not. And baseball has been pretty consistent. Football has not been consistent, I think we can say, for a while. In basketball, it's had its ups and downs. But, yeah, I think I'll spread that out even more to soccer and softball and the other sports around here. I mean, it is as good a time overall when you go from sport 1 to sport 19, I guess it is, that I can remember, and I've been around here since 1981.
Nobody's struggling. Nobody.
No, if you do struggle, you will get fired.
Yeah.
They don't play that here no more.
I mean, Courtney Deifel goes and gets the number 1 softball class to come to Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, yeah, sure. Yeah, we kind of expected that.
Yeah, and it's not just a group from around here. She's nationally recruiting, and in addition to that, they have players just like everybody else has from the transfer portal who have jumped from starting spots in the SEC just to come here. There's a lot to be said for that.
Dudley Dawson's with us here on Ruscin and Zach. You got a read on how Saturday plays out?
Alabama's really good. Arkansas has surpassed my expectations by getting to 7 wins at this point. I really thought that they'd probably be 5-7 at this. I mean, I really thought they'd have 5 wins at this point, be 5-5, but they certainly surpassed my expectations. I do think they'll go down there and play well. And I've talked about how Alabama may not have their best team that they've had in a while, but they just don't lose down there very often. They don't lose without a a quarterback that is going to win a Heisman or close to winning a Heisman. I mean, it's really tough to beat the Bennett. I think they can go down and play well, but certainly wouldn't bet the house on it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I've sort of watched the league go. I think there's one really good team. I think there's one team that's pretty good, and then everybody else is sort of good to really just average. And I don't think there's a lot of difference between, say, the top of that third group and the bottom.
Yeah, Texas A&M probably gets the top of that third group because they had to win over Alabama, and that's certainly something. I had somebody ask me the other day if would you rather win the next 3 games or just win Alabama? You win the next 3 games. I mean, that's stupid to ask. Being Alabama would be great, but you don't want to lose the other 2. What does a win over Alabama mean if you go out and lose to Missouri? Something like that. If you
it means you partied a lot.
yeah, sure does. But I really think that you're right in that there is parity, but it's from 3 on down. And any given Saturday, you have Texas A&M being that best team, Ole Miss being that best team, Mississippi State, and Auburn. Auburn's not going to be now since everybody is out for the season. It seems
everybody
like,
thinks they're dead. They've got what's his name, Lindley, the quarterback from LSU. It's not like they're downgrading into dog food. I mean, the kid can play a little bit.
Yeah, but also, I'll put it this way, and I'll give Felipe Franks credit and all that. When quarterbacks transfer to a new situation, there was a reason they left that old situation.
Yeah.
And, I think it was JaMychal Finley is his name.
Yeah.
And he came in and saved them against Georgia Southern, Georgia State, Georgia Central, whoever it was down there. But Bo Nix has been good Bo Nix a lot this year. And I believe without him, they're just not going to be able to pull it off. And they still, with Bo Nix, lost that game by giving up 40 points. I haven't seen that since Sunday during the Dallas-Atlanta game.
Yeah. Wow. Really?
Wow.
Getting daggers from the Atlanta Falcons' wife saying that.
After getting housed by Denver, now he's running his mouth about beating
Wasn't it
Atlanta.
28-3 at one point? And that
Yeah, just like the Atlanta. Here comes some more daggers.
Hey, right now, if I were you, if you've got an Alexa in the house, I would activate that because they record everything just in case something bad happens.
It's called evidence.
Evidence.
So everything I do is recorded and all that anyway. When I'm walking around the house, I'm just recording myself. That's just.
Well, you're TikTok famous.
Yeah, something like that.
So, have you ever been in this run that Saban is on? Have we ever had I guess a situation where we're kind of questioning whether Alabama has elite level talent anymore? We know they do, but where's I feel like they're a 9-1 football team and we're ready to bury them.
True. Now, the thing I would say is that they've turned that roster over many times, and they've had 5 stars take place with 5 stars. But for some reason this year, I don't think they have as many game breakers on offense and defense. I mean, when you run the ball for 6 yards against the LSU, and LSU has proven to be a pretty good defense with all the replacements they have, with all their blitzing stuff. But I do think that they are not at the level they have been. But I think it's just a little bit off at every spot from what it has been.
True or false? They are slightly above average on the offensive line.
Alabama?
Yes.
I'm going to go with yes because I looked at some draft stuff this week, and they had a couple of guys in there, but it certainly is not going to be the Alabama NFL draft that it has been the last few years.
They also give up a ton of sacks. They give up a ton of sacks. I don't know what Barry Odom's game plan is going to be, but I think you got to go after Bryce Young. Take your chances.
Well, let's be honest. If you just sit back, he'll pick you apart.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is look, if you're going to live by the sword, die by the sword. You go after him, and if you can take advantage of him and get to him, go.
Yeah, it's better to get 3 sacks and a couple of turnovers and give up an 80-yarder. Well, certainly.
Yeah, I think I read a stat that they LSU had blitzed 41 times all year, and they blitzed 21 times against Alabama.
Right. And you've got to do something. And I worry about the back end. At times without Catalan back there, But and even the linebackers, so, who will have a tough time covering the Alabama backs, tight ends, and that sort of thing, I think. But you've got to do something when you're playing against a team that is better than you.
No.
I don't know that LSU is better than Arkansas, but Alabama is better than Arkansas.
Dudley Dawson, Hogs Illustrated and WholeHogSports.com, at DED Sports on Twitter if you want to give him a follow there. Thank you, Dudley. We appreciate it.
We're back and better than ever. A new web interface to start the basketball season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all basketball and football action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV 50 to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, and baseball postseason, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.